The financial markets have been volatile over fears of the spreading coronavirus. We won't know for some time how severe it will impact the global economy. Investors are understandably nervous about their money and their health. If you are worried about your investments, you're not alone. But during stock market volatility, it's important to remain calm to avoid making a big mistake. At times like these, you should put the current conditions into perspective. This is not the first time the market has taken a tumble, and it won't be the last. Declines in stock markets are actually fairly regular events. As you can see in this 30-year chart, the blue bar represents the largest decline each year from a high to a low in the S&P 500 index. The average decline each year is approximately 14%, and despite these declines, the stock market ended the year positive in 24 of the past 30 years. And the average return of the S&P 500 over time is more than 8% per year. The trap a long-term investor can fall into is being convinced that the current situation is different and will be far worse than events in the past. If an investor gives in to fear and sells their long-term investments after the market declines, they likely won't reinvest until the market has already largely recovered. This fatal mistake often results in average returns that are far less than if they had stayed invested the entire time. For a retired investor, diversification is the key to success. A retiree should typically treat short-term investments far different than long-term investments. A way to illustrate this is to show their investment as different buckets. Funds they intend to spend in the next 5 years of retirement would be classified as Bucket 1 and should be very conservative. Bucket 2 represents funds they don't anticipate spending for 6 to 10 years and can be invested more moderately. Bucket 3 represents funds they won't need for 10 years and beyond and can be invested in more growth or aggressive-oriented stock funds. When volatility hits the stock markets, a retiree can rest easy knowing most of the decline in the value in their investments will be in funds in Bucket 3 that shouldn't be needed for 10 or more years. Typically, their more conservative funds in Buckets 1 and 2 will decline far less, if at all. With history as our guide, we do know this. It is likely that this current crisis will pass and life will return to normal at some point. When that occurs, those investors that were disciplined, patient, and optimistic will be rewarded. As always, we recommend you consult with a financial professional to discuss your individual situation. We appreciate you watching today, and please call and speak to one of our certified financial planning professionals if you have additional questions.